This video is about getting cats to be less reactive to sounds. I figure, why not start with a demonstration of sounds that cats may find offensive? I mean, treating you to a quick song on the only instrument I have around my home, an ocarina. Yes, that's right, I'm a nerd. Hopefully your cat wasn't nearby, or you'll be needing this video even more than you did originally. Let's talk about how to help your cats become less jumpy and more comfortable around noises. I'm going to highlight vacuums in particular because they're a common problem, and I may have a small cat soap opera to share involving a vacuum cleaner. It's an educational soap opera. Don't worry, this channel is not becoming a smut channel. I'm going to use Poutine as an example because unfortunately, the fire alarm has gone off in my building the last few weeks a few times due to issues with water and pipes bursting and generally the building being a mess. That creates problems with desensitization. See, it went off again. On a related note, I'm working on a video about moving with cats. Poutine is normally an expected level of reactive to sounds, though he does have a strong aversion to Lana Del Rey music, specifically for whatever reason. Since this happened, and especially since it happened for the fourth time because my god, the building I live in is a dumpster fire, Poutine has been slinking around every time there's a noise. He'll hide under my desk, and whenever anyone comes over, he doesn't come out. This is very abnormal for him, as he's usually cautiously into greeting people. I'm going to help him and teach you how to help your own cat using two processes called desensitization and counter conditioning. Let's talk about what each is, and then we'll get into how to implement them specifically with sounds. Understanding the why behind each will help you be more likely to be successful with your cat. So this part is important, even though it seems a little bit just nerdy. Desensitization helps a cat get used to a stressful or threatening stimulus, so they don't react as strongly to it. The word stimulus sounds intimidating, but it just means anything that a cat can perceive. Something they can see, something they can hear, something they can smell. You get the idea. The process helps lessen their reaction, so eventually they become less reactive to it or habituated to it. Desensitization works by taking whatever it is that the cat is scared of and gradually exposing them to it at a low intensity over time so that they don't become anxious. The intensity of the stimulus is then gradually increased. Your goal is to get to the full intensity that a cat would naturally encounter in the wild or in your home or wherever it is that they would run into the sound. Think of it like slowly turning up your TV volume, one notch at a time. Now, there's one incredibly important detail that I already mentioned, but I'm going to repeat myself because it is so important, and a lot of people do it wrong when they're attempting desensitization. Your cat must not become anxious.
You must not let the cat become anxious. Your cat must not become anxious. You must not let the cat become anxious. Your cat must not become anxious. Hi, Poutine. You must not let the cat become anxious.
I think you get it. That means you need to go slowly and stop before your cat becomes anxious, in case you missed the part where I repeated myself over and over again just now. Not once they become anxious, you need to stop before. The best way to do this is to be really methodical about it, rather than kind of haphazardly trying to do this. Don't just guess, and always stop early. Your goal isn't to push your cat too far. If you do, you'll end up having them become sensitized or having a stronger reaction. Sensitization is kind of the opposite of desensitization. It's a bummer. It's actually kind of a big bummer. Another process that is sometimes mislabeled as desensitization is called flooding. It's important to understand the difference because you may end up accidentally flooding your cat if you do this wrong. Flooding does not involve water, but it does involve exposing your cat to the stimulus that they're scared of and forcing them to stay being exposed to it at full intensity until they stop responding. That can reduce an intense reaction, but it's incredibly really stressful for the cat, and is more likely to result in a spontaneous return of the reaction later when exposed to the stimulus. Plus, the cat may eventually enter a state of learned helplessness. In other words, they stop trying to do much of anything whenever they're in a bad emotional state or in response to the stimulus, and it's bad for them emotionally, physically, and mentally. Flooding has a lot of risks that desensitization doesn't carry or doesn't have as much. It's also honestly kind of rude. I know this is a lot. We're almost to the practical part, and you'll get better results if you understand what we're doing. Often paired with desensitization is counter-conditioning. Counter-conditioning is kind of like desensitization's twin brother or sister, or non-binary sibling. Counter-conditioning is a fancy way of saying we change the way a cat responds to a stimulus from something to something else. It could be a voluntary behavior. It could also be an emotional response or something like drooling, something, Pavlov's dog, something. It's kind of hard to totally separate these two from each other, but in this case, we're focusing mostly on the emotional response, though the behavioral response is part of it. Counter-conditioning is done by pairing something a cat likes with the stressor or the stressful stimulus and working to replace the bad feels with the good feels. Snacks are usually the go-to tool, which I can relate because I love snacks. You can use other things like playing with your cat or catnip, so I don't want to hear anyone in the comments saying that they can't do this because their cat is anti-snack. Petting, brushing, really anything your cat likes can work. Not Lana Del Rey if you're Poutine. That would actually counter-condition him in the other direction, which can happen. Well, we talk about counter-conditioning as being bad feels to good feels. Absolutely it can happen where good feels turn sour. You don't want that. To counter-condition a cat, the process somewhat depends on what you're trying to accomplish and whether you're looking at an involuntary or a voluntary behavior. For a voluntary behavior, usually you give the cat a thing that they like in response to the cat doing a behavior that we want. For involuntary responses, you can also give them the counter conditioner before the stimulus starts. Keep giving them the counter conditioner through the whole thing and then stop after it stops. You must be extra careful if you do that method though, because your cat can't become anxious or it may backfire on you. It may sensitize the cat to whatever the counter conditioner is, and they may not like it anymore. They may associate that fearful response with the counter conditioner, which kinda counterproductive. There is a little bit more to operant counter conditioning or counter conditioning voluntary behaviors, but for our purposes, I'm really simplifying it. So just know that that definition applies mostly to sounds. We're thinking simple here. Back to Poutine though, because he's cute. And, oh, I guess that we probably should actually talk about your cat too. Poutine is mostly fearful of sudden noises. Things in the hall, people knocking on the door, me tripping and unleashing a torrent of four-letter words that I can't repeat in polite company. You get the idea. He's also fearful of loud noises, beeps, and vacuums. Honestly, the poor guy is pretty terrified. I feel an intense amount of guilt because I chose to... Okay, we're not gonna go there. That's for my therapist. Hi, Janelle. For your cat, we need to think of the qualities of the sounds that could affect its intensity to your cat. Things like volume, suddenness, pitch, distance, a special sound quality I'm gonna dub Lana Del Rey-ness. That's something that's maybe only relevant to Poutine though, I don't know. There's a lot to think about. That's the point. Let's start by thinking about brief, sudden, loud noises like doorbells. And then we're gonna talk about other types of noises along with getting to the kitty soap opera. You'll likely never be able to completely eliminate a cat becoming afraid of a sudden or loud noises because it's a very strong innate survival response. But you can... Hi, Prozac. Hi, you... Please be careful, Prozac. That was interesting. As I was saying before Prozac decided to be helpful, you'll likely never be able to completely eliminate a cat becoming afraid of sudden or loud noises because they have an innate, very strong survival response because they could signal danger, but you can reduce their response to prevent them from becoming aggressive or hiding or some other negative outcome. To start, pick a noise that is sudden, brief, and that you can control the volume. You're going to gradually increase the volume over time and gradually increase the intensity. So if needed, you can pick noises that are similar and gradually pick a sequence of noises that becomes more and more similar to your final target noise. I suggest doing a test with this, where you have the noise at a really far distance and you have it at a really low volume, maybe even muffled, before you dive into actually doing this, just to see how your cat reacts. You're looking for a minimal reaction, and if the reaction reaction is too strong, you need to decrease the intensity, ideally by increasing the distance between the stimulus and your cat or decreasing the volume. Once you get to the live test or the live intervention, pick the counter conditioner, get it ready, and get whatever's going to produce the noise ready. Quietly and at a distance while your cat is getting the counter conditioner, make the noise and observe your cat. Do their ears move? Do their eyes get bigger? Does their tail start moving? Or do they stop whatever it is that they're doing and look at it? Do they run and hide? If your cat seems entirely focused on whatever it is that makes the noise, they've probably gone over threshold. You're giving them something really fun that they're gonna really like. They should be focused on that. They may react briefly, but they should be much more interested in the fun thing. If they do have a reaction, decrease the volume or move the noise further away. Consider muffling it or doing it in the next room with a door closed to dampen the volume. If they barely react, you can repeat it again after a few moments. Don't immediately do it because you do want to give your cat a chance to calm down a little bit. Your goal is for the cat to not react. This process should be really boring. Once you've had a few non-reactions to the noise, you can slightly increase the volume. Emphasis on the slightly. A word about intensity. Volume is one way you can control the intensity of the stimulus. Volume goes up, intensity goes up. Volume goes down, and intensity goes down. Another factor for sound specifically is distance, but that works in the opposite direction. If distance between the cat and the stimulus increases, the intensity goes down, while decreasing the distance or moving the cat and the stimulus closer increases the intensity. You need to gradually increase the intensity of the stimulus and keep your cat from becoming anxious. The stimulus intensity can be additive, so to prevent disaster, you want to either increase the volume slightly or move the source of the sound slightly closer after a few successful repetitions, usually at least 2. Increasing both at the same time will create problems because your cat is going to be more stressed. In some cases, you may actually even need to go backwards. For example, you may need to increase the distance between the cat and the stimulus to decrease the overall intensity so your cat doesn't freak out if you make too large of a change. One change at a time is best. You're not gonna just do this in one power session on a weekend or anything like that. You wanna do it in short sessions. Stop the fun only after you're done making noises. And again, remember that you need to be extra careful with this because otherwise your cat will become sensitized. Your goal is to get your cat used to a realistic volume. We're not trying to get them used to, I don't know, a loud foghorn. Oh, I'm absolutely not going to be playing a foghorn sound, don't worry. Oh, what kind of monster do you think I am? For Poutine, I've been doing a slightly different process with him that accomplishes the same goal and actually has other benefits, in that it's fun for me too. And there's benefits to him, I suppose. Clicker training is actually a great way of doing this because it's predictable and you can train your cat to do an action in response to the sound. I have a full video on clicker training if you're interested in that, so I'm not going to explain it now. One of the really important things that you need to pay attention to is the volume of the clicker you're using. I have quite a few clickers, because you know, I do this professionally, that are varying degrees of loud, and I've changed them up to help Poutine. He's gotten more used to the louder clickers as we've done more clicker training, but it took time, especially after our most recent fire alarm. The reason I've been successful has been that I'm not trying to push him, I'm trying to help him. He's totally used to each clicker at a volume that's lower before I move on and try a louder clicker. You can muffle the sound of the clicker in a mitten or a pocket or a mitten in a pocket. There are ways to decrease the volume of a clicker even if you only have one. If you're wondering how helping a cat get used to noises like a click may help with other noises like dropping a pan, very valid concern. Eventually, you'll need to repeat this by going back and starting again with a sound that has a different quality to it. This will help the cat generalize the desensitization so they react less to similar sounds in the future, especially sounds that they may not have encountered during your actual training. Some cats may be okay starting a little further along in the process. I've said it before, but you need to listen to your cat. We'll get to cats with helping with a specific sound aversion next. Let's go over continuous sounds first, as specific sounds will tie both of these together. What I mean by longer lasting sounds are sounds that are going to be more continuous. Examples would be vacuums, or me listening to Lana Del Rey, or power tools, or a drum machine, or whatever it is that your cat is exposed to that they're afraid of. Thankfully, this process is very similar to the sudden sounds, but with a few subtle differences. Once again, start the fun treat or playing with your cat or petting them or whatever it is at a low intensity, low volume, at a distance, and keep the sound going. Make sure they're getting the fun thing the entire time. Here's where there's an important difference. Time is now a really important intensity factor because how long you expose your cat to the sound affects the intensity. Think of it as having a bathtub you're filling with water. The longer that the faucet is running, the more the tub fills up, and eventually the tub's gonna overflow. Think of the water as being anxiety, so it's much less fun and delightful than a bubble bath. Start with short sessions and gradually increase the time slowly. Give your cat a break between sessions as well. A hint for when you get to the point where it's harder to keep the good stuff coming. Find ways to slow them down. For example, with food puzzles, they work great for this purpose. Churro or some sort of baby food that's pure meat spread on a lick mat can be great to slow your cat down. You can also freeze the lick mat with the churro on it, and it can help slow them down even more. Be careful about not increasing the time, the volume, and decreasing the distance all at the same time. Doing so will increase the intensity way too much, and the process won't work because you could end up in flooding or sensitizing territory. Same as before, good stuff the whole time. Stop after the noise stops. Are you ready to talk about specific sounds? And by specific sounds, I mean a specific sound like a vacuum cleaner. Your cat isn't necessarily afraid of loud, continuous noises in general. They're specifically afraid of a vacuum cleaner, or they're specifically afraid of one person's voice, or whatever the case may be. Lana Del Rey. Oh, and I suppose it's almost time for our soap opera. After, I have 3 big final takeaways to summarize things and tie them all together. If there's a specific noise your cat has an aversion to, you'll use the approach that I just outlined, but with a very small twist. You need to get the specific noise, and a great source for specific noises is actually YouTube. I have a playlist of videos people have posted with sounds that cats commonly find problematic. There are such delightful videos as an hour of a baby crying, or an hour of thunder. Please thank Poutine and Prozac for putting up with me as I made that playlist. They say that the best way to do that is to subscribe to my channel so you can see more of them. Oh, and they'll also accept treats. Recordings are great because you can directly control every aspect of it. You can control what exactly your cat is listening to, you can control the volume, you can control exactly how long they get exposed to the sound. Start at a volume that your cat won't react to and gradually increase it while your cat gets fun things. Goal is for them to not react. Your cat must not become anxious. This isn't going to be a fast process, and trying to do it too fast will result in sensitizing them. For some noises and some cats, you shouldn't start with the noise that's even a quiet version of the noise that you're trying to help them get used to. For example, if your cat has aggressive behaviors in response to the noise, you're gonna wanna be extra careful. Don't dive right into the actual noise. Instead, you're probably better off picking something that has similar qualities to the noise. Eventually, you'll use the actual noise itself. If you're confused, I have a great example here to help you. It's actually a dramatic example. Welcome to Meows of Our Lives. This is Belle and her human, Linda. Or should I say, her former human. You see, Belle is a homewrecker. I was hired to help Belle as she was aggressing towards her now former human. In the process, it came out that Belle has a new human. While the 2 humans were previously dating, I think it's pretty clear from this picture who the real lovers are. Sorry, Linda. Belle is afraid of vacuum cleaners and has a very dramatic reaction and hides whenever the vacuum cleaner is used. To help Belle become more comfortable with the noise of the vacuum cleaner so she can go back to planning her elopement with Jamal. Seriously, Linda, go look at whose names are on those first-class plane tickets to Paris that he just bought. I actually don't think one of them is you. They could start out with a vacuum cleaner or a recording of a vacuum cleaner. The recording can be kept at a low volume and gradually increased as Belle is comfortable. But let's pretend even the recording is just too much for poor Belle. They could start with a recording of something else that has similar qualities to the sound of a vacuum. Think a continuous whirring noise of some kind, but one that's a bit less mechanical. A wind sound may work, or even a recording of an ocarina. After she's used to the similar sound, switch to the actual noise, the dreaded vacuum. The whole time, Belle should be getting snacks, or even better, true love's embrace from her sweet, precious, studly Jamal. Once your cat is used to at least mildly being okay with a noise at a low level, you can try turning the noise into a signal that something good is happening. But don't do this at full volume, and remember, it won't work for everything. This is best used for things like doors being opened. Actually, bonus tip, if you give your cat a treat in the same location consistently in response to your front door opening, this can help train them to go to that location instead of trying to bolt out the door. Wow, that was surprisingly spicy. Most behavior modification lessons don't get quite that dramatic. I promised you 3 big takeaways though, so let's summarize it with them and tie everything together. Number 1, stop before your cat becomes anxious. Wow, how many times did I repeat that? A lot. I repeated it a lot. It's better to do a shorter session than pushing it. Number 2, this may take a while. This process is slow, and if you rush it, it's gonna end up not working or backfire. Number 3, sometimes going backwards is going forwards. Your cat is reacting really strongly because they're still scared. Decrease the intensity of the sound. Don't just keep moving forward because you want to or you're bored. Remember, you should be bored. You'll end up sensitizing your cat if you're not careful. That means more work for you. Going slowly makes less work for you. For some people and some cats, this process can be really straightforward. For others, it can be tough, and getting things right can take a long time. It really depends on the cat. If you're feeling discouraged, or you can't figure out what to do next, don't be afraid to get individualized help or recommendations from your veterinarian or a qualified cat behavior consultant. You don't have to figure out everything on your own. Good luck, and wish Poutine and I good luck. The poor guy has a lot of work ahead of him, but we're gonna figure it out together. Oh, and if anyone happens to know the name of a good therapist that specializes in cat-human infidelity, I think I know someone who could use their contact information. Watch all of them. Oh, hello, Prozac. Hello. Prozac, what are your thoughts on counter conditioning? Yeah, do you like counter conditioning? Do you like desensitization? I like counter conditioning and desensitization. I think they're good. They help a lot of cats. Oh my god, I'm so distracted by his beautiful, beautiful face.